Today I'm going live with Andy from Career Hire. He's the founder and CEO. So let me just see if I can get him on quickly. Yes, he's there. Hello.
Hello, that's the wrong camera. That's the right camera.
I was like,
Good to see you
seriously, where
again.
is he? Good to see you.
All
Yeah.
right.
Can you hear me well and everything?
I can hear you great. Yes, yes. Everything
Perfect.
is clear from my end.
Perfect. So I'm so excited to speak to you. Like, I've been following you for a while and being inspired by your content and what you do and your company. So I thought it would be a really valuable conversation for your followers and also my followers. I thought maybe you can just
Sure.
introduce yourself to my followers.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Totally. So, this is Andy. I was born in Greece long time ago. I've spent most of my life as an adult in the UK. Around 10 years, went there to study, and then I stayed there. I was in HR in the corporate world for a while. It was pretty good, but it's not what I wanted to do for my whole life. And I remember I had to travel a couple of times. One time in Asia, one time over the States for work. And this is when I understood that I wanted to do something different that would allow me this flexibility. And back then, pre-COVID, in HR, impossible to work remotely. Zero remote opportunities. So I took a career break. I traveled a bit. Then I started freelancing, and this is how I entered the career world, because I also found it a lot more impactful and fun to work B2C to help, to help people rather than helping companies. This is me in a nutshell. And I'm calling from Bangkok, Thailand. I've been in Thailand for a good couple of years, been here before, and across Southeast Asia. I spent some time in Bali. I think you're based in Bali. It's one of my favorite places as well. Thailand, Bali, and Vietnam is also fantastic. I don't know whether you had the opportunity to visit yet.
Not yet, but it's on my bucket list.
Okay, great. Where are you based in Bali, by the way? I
So
know this is a little bit off topic, but Bali rocks, so it's a good idea to
Bali
include it.
is amazing. Yeah, no, we are now in Canggu, so we're here for 2 months now, but we are seriously considering moving here. I know it's a big decision because it's very far away from our family and friends in Holland, but it ticks pretty much all the boxes except for the time difference, which is kind of
Mm.
shitty, and that is far. But for the rest, it's really amazing.
Yeah, yeah, great. Happy for you. Looking
Yeah.
forward to visiting again, hopefully soon.
Yes. So let's dive into, and by the way, also Thailand, love it. Been there lots of times. We go there every year. So, and that is amazing, when you can work remotely and you can visit all these amazing places. Like I've always said something like, when I die one day, I want to kind of have said that I've seen like so much of the world. There's just so much to discover and so much to see. So, and it just every time it opens my eyes
Totally.
again, like the beauty and the nature and everything of Thailand and Bali and so many other beautiful places.
Totally.
So yeah,
The next live we can have in person. We can join from the same place. If you guys visit Thailand, or if I come over to Bali, I will let you know.
yeah, let me know.
Awesome.
So I'll just quickly introduce you, me to your followers. So I'm Christy and I'm a career coach, and I specifically focus on women who've been in a burnout in the past. They've recovered and now they come back to their work and they realize, you know what, I've
Mm.
changed and I am not the same person anymore, and I want something else. I want something more fulfilling, something more meaningful. Just like what you say, you may be selling certain products for a company and it doesn't give you any meaning or satisfaction. You want to like do something for other people, for the world, make the world a little better place, or be more creative, be a little bit more free. Yeah, so basically I help them find a meaningful and fulfilling career. And what I notice a lot is, first of all, that they, and that is my first question to you, that they kind of know that their job is not satisfying them anymore, but they kind of dig their head in the sand. They try to just pretend everything is okay, especially also because they have a good salary, good
Mm-hmm.
paycheck, also for the status, they have a nice title on LinkedIn. But meanwhile, they're actually kind of suffering inside, but they don't really want to admit it yet. So I'm curious to know, maybe also what you've seen with your clients, what are the main signs that it's time for career change? And quickly, by the way, I saw on your website that you also said that 66% of the people you work with are not engaged with their work, so
Yeah.
they're not happy in their work.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think security is not everything. It is a basis. I wouldn't say disregarding security, but there are things above and beyond. And I think settling for just security in the long run is a big compromise. Um, so I think short term having the security is important, and there may be cases that we need to settle, but longer term, I think making a plan once you understand this and based on what you really want to do, what really suits you, and so on, to be able to transition to something that will, apart from the security, make you feel good with what you do. I mean, we work 8 hours a day, some of us more, but it's a third of our lives, and more than a third if you also count sleep. So, it's pretty important. And I think it goes beyond the domain also. Like the domain is one thing, but before now I'm having a lot of fun because the team, as in our team in Career Hire, they're all great people. But before, I also had cases where like I was happy with what I was doing, but not necessarily with the culture and so on. So there can be different things, as in the subject matter, the culture, the arrangement, as in maybe you want to be remote and you're like tied to an office like 5 days a week. That I think short term are okay, but once you understand it over time, they are signs, as you say, to take action and shift to something else.
Yeah, I think with my clients, I see a lot that they feel like there's no opportunity for growth anymore. They're not learning anything new. Um, so maybe sometimes not even a burnout, but more like a bore out also, that they're just sort of, watching the clock, watching the days go by, waiting for the weekend, waiting for the next holiday. But hey, they have a good paycheck and they're secure, so they just stay. And
Yeah,
that's my
I know what you
next
mean.
question. I know for us it's pretty simple or straightforward, why it's important to find a meaningful and fulfilling career. But I'm curious what your perspective is on this, because I do hear from some people that work's not meant to be fun. Work is just meant to pay the bills, and that's it. So a meaningful and fulfilling career doesn't really exist. Also another belief. So
Yeah, I I think so. I think so, Christy. And I don't think that it's the same just paying your bills and like not enjoying part of your day to still paying your bills, of course, this is a basis, but also having some fun most days. For some people it's easier to figure because someone may be really passionate about something, really talented in something, and so on. In some other cases it may be a matter of like something that suits you, something that suits your lifestyle. I think this is fantastic. It's already fantastic. And I think when people like realize it, if you think about it from this standpoint, like I can just pay my bills but not enjoy my lifestyle because of my job, or I can pay my bills and enjoy my lifestyle, it makes a hell of a difference. And of course, if you are also passionate about something, if you're part of this group that have a certain like they feel more enthusiastic about something, this is even better. So there are different levels, but it certainly makes it. I think everyone who's been miserable in any job in their lives knows this. It's not me being an expert or you or anything like that. Like and anyone who've had a series of roles, who've had a few roles, there was for sure an instance when like something was not right for them, like the fit was not there.
yeah, and I think it really does cause a ripple effect on the rest of your life. If you're not happy in your career, You probably don't feel like going to the gym because you're just exhausted. You don't feel like playing with your kids. You snap at your husband. You don't want to see your friends. I mean, I remember when I um, was not happy in my career. I also don't want to see my friends anymore. I felt like I can't have fun or something. I had to figure all this stuff out, and I didn't know, and it was just very confusing. And then I also believe if you are happy, then you've poured into your own cup. You're excited, so you're excited to do so many other things. So the rest of your life, your personal life, also gets better. The quality of it.
Yes, yes, definitely. There is a relationship between our personal lives and work lives. It's not only having fun at work or like feeling miserable at work, but also if you feel miserable at work, then I don't know how much fun you can have at home with your family, friends, anything else that you may be interested in, and so on. Totally.
Very true.
It's super important. It's super important. Like I think again, short term, if you find yourself in this situation, there is also something about knowing that you're not alone. It happens to everyone at some point of time in their careers, in their lives at the end of the day. Because even if you try to assess a job, then when you join, you find more things. And I don't think that there is something like bad people or bad cultures. Well, there is, like to a certain extent, but there is something more importantly about the fit. And this you can only assess to a certain extent before joining a company. So it's very normal for this to happen. And I think watching out and identifying it is great. So if you are at this position, it sort of sucks the way you feel, but you've already taken the first step. It's something very normal to happen at some point, and you've already identified it, which can empower you to take action and change it to something else that suits you better.
Yeah, and that's actually, a lot of people then think, well, but maybe it's too late, Maybe it's too late. I've been working at this company for so long. I've got all the diplomas in this field. I'm already this age. And that's what I see, that a lot of people, therefore, they're like, I should have then thought about this before. And that's why they just stay stuck. So what is your opinion on that?
Someone thinking that they should have taken action
That
before
is
is
too
this
late.
the
Yeah, that is
term?
too late to change your career.
Oh, I got you.
Or why it's never too late to change your career.
I mean, I
Why is it never too
didn't get
late?
it right when we graduate, you have limited to no experience. So you have to go by, like, you don't have like your own data. You have to like trust some other source and like getting it right. What are the chances? So it will definitely be, at some later stage for most people, except if you're super lucky and you get it right from the beginning. And then again, even if you get it right at the beginning, you change employers, you stay in the same line of work, you're happy about what you do, and then somehow the fit is horrible with a different company. Or you try freelancing and you love it or you hate it. You name it, but it's bound to happen. And there is nothing that says that, it cannot happen later. It can happen in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and so on. And, ageism is a thing. So I think this is maybe why people think that, okay, how is it going to work now? Of course, it shouldn't be a thing, but in some cases it is. But I don't think that changing jobs or careers makes it any different. Like the idea is joining a company, working with people who focus on your output and not the age. And if this doesn't happen, it can happen when you're looking to change a job, or it can also happen within your company. So ageism is a real problem. I mean, we have to say things like they are. It shouldn't be, but it's a real problem. But it can happen to you in any context, not necessarily if you're considering a change. So I don't think that age should be like what determines if you go for the change or not, because it's not different to how you would move internally within an organization.
Yeah, I know what you mean, that it can sometimes be a problem, but I honestly have seen also a lot of clients really change their career at a later age, like doing something completely different, like studying something else, starting from the bottom. So that is also really possible. Or, starting your own business in something. So there is hope that is also possible.
Yes, 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 totally. I'm not saying that this is not possible. I'm saying that you know, ageism is a problem that shouldn't exist, but it does
In
in all
certain
contexts. So
companies,
you
yeah.
won't have a bigger problem if you start something new
Mm.
than you may have within the same company if you work with the wrong people that focus on age over something else. But
Mm.
yeah, and on what you said in terms of starting your own business, I don't remember the stats, so don't quote me on this, but I remember it roughly. I was surprised to see that the most successful companies are by people I believe in their
Oh
40s.
well.
I don't know, 40 something. This is what I don't remember, but you know, we see all this stuff like in you know, in news and in movies and so on about people who are like 18 and you know, they create a big tech company and it booms and so on. It can happen, but obviously this is a very small minority, and for most people experience would be very helpful. So like starting something in your 40s, you're wiser than before. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, totally, starting a new business is very possible, and it can be a great idea if it's what suits you. I
And you
agree with
know,
you.
also the transferable skills, like you know, you have so many transferable skills that you can use in a different company or a completely different industry. And you know what, I was also thinking, it's also really fun to learn something new, right? Like imagine if you go work another job and you're really able to do all the stuff. Like how much fun is it? Isn't it fun when there's certain skills you're like, okay, this will be interesting to learn. And if you don't try, you'll never know. Then I always think I want to live a life with no regrets and not look back on life and think, what if? What if I tried something else? Or what if I tried a different industry or a completely different job?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there is nothing wrong with trying. It's in almost all cases, it's better than not trying.
Exactly.
Um, yes, and you can always go back to something. I mean,
Yeah,
worst case scenario. But you've already tried and you
exactly.
know that I've tried it and this is how it works for me and it worked or it didn't work and so on. Um, and yes, it is fun.
Mm,
It is fun. You
mm,
know, if someone is in a place that is not great and they want to make a change and they have identified something, even if it requires effort, you know, to start something new and so on. I think this energy that you have when you do something that you feel that it's right for you, it's completely different. It's
it
completely
is.
different to the energy. I think you need to put so much energy to do a job that you are bored of,
Oh, terrible.
because
Yeah.
it goes again. It's like, oh man, again, like I have to wake up, I have to do this, I have to, and it doesn't suit me. Honestly, I think that this is harder.
Mm.
I don't know what
I
you think.
absolutely. No, I still remember, you know, like the Sundays, then I'd like think about, oh, tomorrow's Monday and I have to go to work again. And it would ruin my whole Sunday because the whole Sunday I'd be busy with that. And you know,
Yes,
now
totally. That's what I'm
it's
talking about.
and then I see that you also talk a lot about creating your personal brand and stuff. And why do you feel like it's important to do that? And do you have any tips on how people can do that?
Yes, yes, totally. So our business is it's a job search optimization business. So we focus more on this part of careers, like the actual change, and it's specific to this process. So people may wonder how this fits into like a job search. Um, you know, in some cases, depending on the market, or if someone has a bold goal, if someone wants to make a change, maybe just applying for jobs is not enough to do it fast or to get something that really suits you, or to just get the max out your potential, max out your opportunities. And it's really great that everyone can have a platform and use it, as part of this process. I think the difference is that it's a little bit longer term, and this is why it's good for someone to work on this on an ongoing basis as much as possible. You know, a lot of people say I don't have time, and it's true. Like there are so many things to do. I don't think that it's like the right advice for everyone. Okay, do, I don't know, spend 3 hours every day working on your brand for the rest of your life. This is not what we're talking about, because most people won't execute on this. But I think building this up over time, it can help so much. I can talk about the job search from a job search perspective, because you can tap into this network and you can have an inbound channel. And for those who are not marketers, rather than having to do what we call cold outreach, like these are applications. If we use sales and marketing terminology, like you find jobs, they don't know you, they haven't heard of you before, and then you reach out, you apply. It's okay. It's the basis. You have to do this, but how can you stand out? So if people somehow know you, and I'm not talking about everyone becoming an influencer. I mean, again, what is the point? But the right audience. All that you need is one yes. So if somehow you get a little bit of exposure to the right audience and you build a group of people in a company that you like, people who are industry experts, you name it, relevant people to the search, it's going to make it so much easier. And a real example, like a practical example, because people may be wondering, all right, like how?
Yeah.
Referrals. Referrals are based on data so much like easier to lead to interviews and offers compared to cold applications. But how can you get a referral if you don't have an insider, if you don't work on your brand, if you don't network and so on? It might happen if you meet someone during your search, but typically people would want a little bit more trust built over time before they refer you. So it's these sort of examples that I think, at least from a job search perspective, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know, based on your scope of work, how you think that personal branding is relevant.
Well, I also think it is, because then it sets you apart from other people. And just like with networking, like do a little bit like what I also tell my clients to do, instead of just applying for jobs to companies who've never heard of you before. Start networking, also seeing who out of your own network, who's working where. So I have a practical example also with a client. She wants to transition to something completely different. So from a sales position to a product owner position. So she looked at who is working in positions like that, and it was a friend of a friend of a friend, something like that. And she just reached out and said, "Can we go on a coffee date together? I just want to ask some questions." And that actually led to him referring her to the hiring manager, getting an interview, getting a job. But if also, like indeed with creating the personal brands, you can start posting, also on LinkedIn about your expertise, about what's happening in the industry, things like that, so that you show that, oh yeah, you are the expert. Not many people are doing this. I also read something about a very small percentage of people who are actually posting on LinkedIn. It's like crazy. I don't remember, but it was
Yes.
like tiny. So yeah, I think it's definitely, in this day and age, you want to stand out. You want to do something different than what everybody else is doing.
Yes, totally, completely agree. I think there is this rule of 1%. I don't know if this is an
Yeah,
actual stat,
I
like of
also read that.
in
I
terms
think,
of 99% being scrollers and then 1% creating content at pretty much any given platform, at least consistently. Again, I don't know if this is like research based. I think it's called the rule of 1%, but I think it wouldn't be very far from what happens actually. So it's a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity that doesn't necessarily take a lot of time. If you really want to push it for other reasons, you can put more time. But I think in terms of developing just the network that you need that can really transform your career, I don't think that it's super, it's not effort intensive. It just requires a little bit of consistency. And this is why I think that, some advice, some coaching, or some consulting service could also help. It could help with like making it easier, and also with a consistency part of it, like staying on track and so on. For a lot of people, I mean, this is why personal trainers exist as well, isn't it? Like for a lot of people, it helps a lot having some advice, but also having some support, having an accountability network. Like there are a lot of ways to talk about this, but I think for many people, it's why this type of services also matter.
and also, and I think that's also a big part, and that's what also helped me when I was working with coaches. I still work with coaches, but it's really the mindset part. Really working on your mindset, because I think that's also really key into how fast and to what extent you're gonna, find a new job. Because it can be very depressing when you just hear no all the time. And that
Yeah.
was actually my last question to you. Why you think it's important to work on your mindset and to create, that growth mindset? Because so many of us have a fixed mindset, but the great thing is that we can change. We can change from a fixed to growth mindset if you put in the work, of course.
Yes. Yes, totally. I think that this is very important. Maybe you can. I would love to hear what you have to say about this as well, because it's not our primary focus in the services that we offer. But what I would say again is that working with people who can either like help you to shift your mindset, or they can do things for you. So for example, when it comes to the job search, we also have a tier that is essentially done for you services, or somewhere in the middle where you have an accountability partner. And you know what? Let's not make it only about our services. It can even be your friend or your partner. Like having someone to speak with about something, not feeling alone, having someone to say something, share your goals with, and commit. There are certain tricks that anyone could do, even beyond services. It's free and it can have like a real difference. It's proven. But what you said about mindset, I think it makes a hell of a difference, and it's something that in many cases is overlooked.
Mm.
And so you know, without working on it actively, I don't know how realistic it is for someone to have like the kind of mindset that would be the most helpful to them in this process. So yeah, I would love to know how you work with people and how you help them in this perspective.
So it's all about, changing the limiting beliefs. So um, creating new affirmations. So correcting that negative voice. I don't know if you ever heard of the saying with the two wolves inside your head. So the one is the one that's always negative, and the other one is very positive. And then they say, who wins? And that's the one you feed. So start to speak to yourself differently. So if you're gonna say, the whole time to yourself, I'm a failure, I'm not gonna be able to do this, I will never achieve that, that job is way too far-fetched for me, all these things. Okay, a lot of times the first thought you cannot control, because that a lot of times those thoughts just pop up in our head, right? But the second thought you can control, and the second thought you can, start questioning. What I really love is the work of Byron Katie. So I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but basically she starts questioning whether the thought is true, and questioning how you feel with this thought and how you would feel without the thought. And then you turn it around. So basically creating a new affirmation that contradicts that thought. And
Yes.
I know in the beginning it seems a little bit like woo woo and magic, and but honestly, it it does work, because then every thought creates an emotion, and your emotions create an action, and your actions that basically create your reality. And when you start to think differently or tell yourself different things, you start to feel differently. You start to take different actions. If you can at first always tell yourself that job you'll never be able to do that, and then you start, maybe I can do it. What can I do today? What tiny steps can I start taking now towards that? And just keep going, and then first you need courage, but then you become more confident in whatever you're trying to pursue, and then eventually you will achieve whatever you want to achieve. But you have to get out of the comfort zone, and that is really
Mm.
like that mindset work of getting out the comfort zone. A lot of people would rather stay in their comfort zone. All got to do with your reptilian brain. That you'd rather want to be safe but unhappy than out of your comfort zone and happy. So yeah, for me, all the mindset work has really helped, and my clients have said that have also really helped them to do the things that scare them most.
True. True, that's real. And you know what? Let me share that I used to be one of the people who didn't really believe in, you know, coaching or counseling or psychology and so on. Even though my mom is a psychologist,
Oh wow, maybe that's
used to be.
why
She's
she was
now
trying to get
retired,
you money
but she
bits.
used to be. She used to be. Like, you know, I don't need a personal trainer to go to the gym. I don't need someone to help me with this or coach me on this and
Yeah.
so on. But there is a point where you realize that this is something that happens to almost everyone and in so many different things in life. So, like currently, you know, I think about giving up probably a few times a week. I don't, but I think about it, and I think that's real talk. So I really like this quote or this way of thinking, however you want to call it. That the only difference between success and failure is that the person who succeeds, they don't stop.
Yes,
I
I
think that the
love
main
that.
I think that the main reason that companies fail, like efforts fail, is because someone stops trying. And obviously, there are some cases where you're forced to do this by some sort of external, like external factor. And we're not talking about these things. But the majority of cases is because you choose to stop. You choose to give up. It's a decision. You choose to give up on something or even on yourself. And I think this is why having the right mindset is in many cases, like, people start from exactly the exact same point. Some person stops at some point, some person keeps going, and that's the only difference why the first person fails and the second one succeeds. So
100%.
this is I think this sounds very real, and these tips can can help a lot in practice. There by the way, there are a lot of different tips. So another good thing is that someone can choose what suits them. Like you mentioned, a few practical things within a few minutes. So the other thing to mention is, if you try something and it doesn't work for you, the very good thing is there are different schools of thought, there are different practical tools that you can
Yes.
try
Yeah.
applying.
Like some people, everybody says you have to meditate and you have to do yoga, but some people don't want to meditate or they don't want to do yoga. Well, if you don't enjoying it, then don't do it. Then find something else. And I must quickly say one thing, like with the mindset stuff. For example, my husband, everything that I tell him or I read in a book, he's like, "That's so common sense." Like so, for some people, I honestly do believe they already, as if they just have a more, like say that they're already here, like with their mindset stuff. But and I may be like here, but there are definitely people like that I've helped that are okay. You can't see now, but that are here, and it's really amazing, like through doing this mindset work, how you can help them. So I think we're all at a different level. And what I will hear from you is maybe you probably like here compared to me. So that's why you might need less of that mindset help as much as other people, or maybe the people maybe also because you're a man, I don't know. But
No, not necessarily. Now I care about these things. Now I recognize why it's important, and I like getting information. It's not the main part of how we support people as
yes,
a
yes,
business, but
yes.
at a personal level, I like knowing more about the stuff and trying to do the stuff. And you're very right. Like, some of these things are common sense, but at the end, I think the big problem with job searches, careers, and everything, like getting rich, and yes. I want to find a silver bullet mindset. There has to be a fast way to overnight riches, and it's going to be like fast and easy and so on. But in reality, it is common sense. This is how it's done. That's not how to do something different or better by discovering like a hack. It's just hard work over time, or just consistency, just doing things over time. So, like, to your point, meditation, I found that it's very, very useful. And if we're talking about this mindfulness, right, just do this and try to stay focused in the present moment. And it's like, okay, this is, it's so simple. Try doing it, man. Like, if you try doing it the first time, you will get distracted in 5 seconds. It's not because it's complex, but it's still not easy. And it's even harder to do it over time if you want to make a routine out of it and say, I'm gonna do it every day. Like eating. Now, this is a little bit off topic, but it's about the same. It's about the same exact
Yeah.
mindset point. Eating well, it's very easy. It's
Yes.
common sense. Everyone
Losing
knows it.
weight.
Working out is the
Yeah.
same. How many people do you know who work out and eat clean every day?
Yeah. No, that is true. Just one little thing that I also think, some people, they're brought up with parents who also tried their best maybe, but they could have imprinted, certain negative beliefs, like you cannot do this, or maybe not intentionally. And I think those people especially struggle with, like I've also had clients that they're like, I find it too difficult to meditate, or too difficult to eat healthy, but yeah. So I'm just saying that some people are maybe have a bit of a more advantage because of their upbringing, because of their surroundings, but yeah. Anyway, let's round it off. I have one last question to you, and that's just any last piece of advice to anybody listening right now, feeling stuck in their career, watching right now. What would you say to them?
If there is one thing, don't like you're not alone. It's something that will happen to everyone at some point, and all the people that we speak with, for example, we may end up working with them or not. They all have the same problem like you have. I think sometimes we feel very bad. We feel alone if we're like, oh, this is happening to me. Why? It's my mistake, or it doesn't really happen to other people. Because I don't know if people really discuss these things, a lot, apart from maybe, a couple of people. So it's very common, happens to everyone, and there is a way to change it. This is also really cool because we can't change everything, but this is pretty much in your control. This is
100%.
what I would say.
You can change your situation, and you're not alone. There's so many people, and it's actually nice when you listen to these things, or you hear from other people like, oh, you're also struggling with that. Okay. And you see on social media only the highlight reels that everybody's living their best life, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So yeah. But
Totally.
there's help out there, and you can change. Great. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed doing this with you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for the invite. It's been great, meeting you in person, and we should do this again
Yeah,
at some point.
we should do it again. Maybe on LinkedIn. We'll do LinkedIn Live.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good day.
I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Bye.